I just love cargo, man. Ever since I've been playing back in when I started in 2016, the first mission I did was a box delivery mission. And now, doing deliveries really does change things in the game. It enables other players to do a bunch of other things. And that's quite a unique satisfaction that I get from taking things from point A to point B. It's peaceful, it's chill, and it's important. I like that. But I recently noticed that something seemed off. I've been playing for a while within the recent patches. I was pretty active during Supply or Die, and during that event, gold specifically was very hard to kind of consider as a viable commodity for me to take advantage of, because I could never really get a full cargo hold of the stuff to then sell at a moment's notice. And anything that I can't sell like that, or anything that I can't obtain like that, is just a no-go. I don't want to deal with people griefing or pirates. Just to confirm, griefers and pirates are not necessarily the same thing, and I do appreciate the very talented pirates that do know how to use comms in the verse. So, here I am just trying to make the best of it. I recently made a video saying that I wanted to make a name for myself when it came to the economy and being someone who moves stuff around within the verse. So I reached out to the website for UEX and I applied as what they call a data runner. Essentially, you go from place to place and you provide evidence of the commodity with its quantity, the price, and other factors, and you basically become this live reporter bringing in information for the public. Honestly, I like it. It's really fun to be part of those people that go from place to place taking inventory and helping other people take advantage of what's available in the game. However, I do have to say, well, thankfully we have a lot of data runners in the game, but I had a moment where I realized that if there was not enough data runners, anyone that decided not to report stuff could take advantage of the system. And people that didn't know because things weren't reported wouldn't get to take advantage of the commodities. And so I started thinking about gold again, and I realized that across patches, it's really hard for me to get a hold of it in the way that makes sense. So I was wondering, maybe there's a group of people that may be taking advantage of that, kind of like a monopoly. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that there is a monopoly on Golden Star Citizen. What I'm saying is that I believe there might be somebody or some people exercising monopolistic powers. An example of this would be controlling barrier to entry. The barrier to entry is essentially the difficulty or the barrier that prevents someone from getting in the game or getting into the business with X or Y commodity or service. I then came across some Reddit posts after I made an investigation, and I realized that a lot of people were pointing out the same thing. I don't have any sort of evidence to back it up except seeing that gold and some other commodities are just really hard to come by. In Supply or Die, we did see how this can be affected, be it long queue lines or through other means that block people from getting to the kiosks. But that's not happening. Not often anyways, not at the scale that it was in the early days of Supply or Die. But given that there's not much to talk about beyond this point on the matter, let's discuss about some things that we can do in the verse to profit regardless of these setbacks. Now that we have item recovery tier 0, this means that we're able to take advantage of the things that actually exist physically in the game, like armor, weapons, rare items, the Pico Ball, things like that. I think that it's worth considering having the economy shift to also focusing on these individual items and having them have a price that fluctuates. If you go to the UEX website, it's really interesting to see how people price the items that they have based on their rarity, and quite frankly, I'm all for it. It's great stuff to see that this is actually happening. Grinding your reputation to get higher paying cargo delivery missions is actually pretty good as well. So these cargo missions actually can go up to the point where you're gonna need a fully functioning whole C to get the entire amount of resources from one place to another. And quite frankly, the introduction of these missions is a godsend, because if we have to deal with people that are blocking other commodities, this is always going to be an open avenue. And keep in mind that while you're doing these missions, if you ever find yourself in a position where the mission gets glitched and you're stuck with this unnecessary load of cargo, you can always sell that in Pyro, but for a lower amount. Another really good way in being able to get commodities so that you can trade is working together with other players, specifically mercenaries and bounty hunters. When they're out and about within their respective areas taking out ships, make sure to ask them to only get them to soft death. That means that the ship stops functioning, but it's not destroyed completely, and that keeps the cargo bay intact. This gives you the chance to go up to these ships and see what they have in their cargo holds, potentially giving you the ability to split the profits and still make a very good earning. And with that said, I do wish you well with your space trucking endeavors. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you feel like you want to support me on making more of this type of stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Be safe out there.